Hey Amarillo, I'm Skylar Gallup, and you're listening to Hey Amarillo, the interview podcast featuring some of the most interesting people and stories of Amarillo, Texas. We record every week at Amarillo College's Innovation Outpost. The IO supports education, workforce development, and industry growth by inspiring and facilitating innovation in the Texas Panhandle. Today's guest is Katt Massey. Katt fiercely calls Amarillo her home, and it is, but not before she did a stint in a certain big city a couple hours southeast of us. She coins the term boomerang, and I like it. Once Katt came home, her direction was clear. Love on our city. And that's been easy at times for Katt, and hard at times. It's been successful and maybe unsuccessful in some people's estimation, although not hers. Regardless of her roles, jobs, projects, Katt is determined to love this place to better and do so with hard work, grace, and based in knowledge. Here's Katt. Katt Massey, welcome to the Hey Amarillo podcast.
Hello. Hi.
I'm happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
I think it'll be a fun conversation.
It's going to be something.
We're doing it.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so I like to say, let's begin at the beginning.
At the beginning.
You're an Amarillo girl.
Amarillo.
Yeah.
Through and through. I consider myself a boomeranger. So I left Amarillo, came back, and am raising my children here. So,
Is that like an accepted term for that? This is the first time hearing it, but I really like it.
I mean, I've been calling it for a while, and there's a few of us that have left and come back to raise our children. Sometimes we debate on staying, but I think we're here to stay, and my family has roots through and through here. Yeah, born and raised, born at Northwest Texas Hospital, same as my parents. Went public school kid, Belmar, Sam Houston, Tascosa.
I love Tascosa.
And my parents were, rebels too. And I looked at my children and I said, I don't care where we live in the city, you will be a rebel.
There you go.
And this is coming from an ex-mascot. So my senior year, I was the rebel kid. So I am definitely a fan.
I was a mascot for a hot minute in junior high, but I don't think I had the chops.
What was the mascot?
Seminole Indians, which they still are actually.
Yeah. Well, we were a rebel, and we could go on a tangent. My husband, who also went to Tascosa, didn't know I was the rebel kid and made a lot of fun of me. So it's fine. So from there, from Tascosa, I went to East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma.
Oh.
Kind of random, but There's a whole other story behind that. I graduated with a degree in mass communications.
Oh, same.
I know. Broadcast journalism. Still have no idea what I want to do with my life now, but then I minored in theater, which is a passion, and I love it and wish I would get back into it myself. I just wish I would, and I need to.
I love that. Okay, Katt, I was a theater major and then graduated with broadcast. Yeah. And I also haven't done theater in a hot minute.
Well, let's go.
We live in this community with ALT.
I know.
What are we doing?
I mean, Alan Shankles was my teacher at the ALT, and Jackie Selman, and I grew up there, and my daughter is there now too. And I look at Jason and say, I need to come back. I need to come back. I look at Terry. I got to come back. And so there's nothing like magic in the theater.
Oh my gosh.
And Amarillo has a great theater scene here. An incredible, there is magic in that theater in all of them.
That's great. So. Okay, so when you graduated in Ada, Oklahoma, I have no idea where that is.
Yeah, it's the East Central part. So it's kind of, we're close to Dallas. We're about 2.5 hours from Dallas north. And how I got there, maybe we'll touch on in the rest of my story. I'm not sure. But literally went there and knew no one, but graduated with some of my dearest friends that I found. When I graduated, I still loved the college life. So I worked for the college for the dean of students for a hot minute and in recruitment and all of that fun stuff. And it was short-lived. I thought $18,000 a year was great for 90 hours a week. So I didn't know that ratio. So I came home at the end of 2007 from Ada my now husband was here, I bumped back into him at good old Ruby Tequilas. And the rest is history on that.
I feel like so many relationships.
A good margarita and queso.
Butted at Ruby Tequilas.
There's just, I missed that place. But yes, bumped back into him and then worked for my parents, which they both recently retired. So they have my dad was I think my brother figured it out, the 4th generation landscaper in our family. So my dad and my mom had Kraus Landscape here for over 40 years. And so I bumped back into there for a little bit. That place raised me. That's how I knew everyone in the community. I would answer the phone growing up and, hey, how does that, have you checked this on your sprinkler system? Have you done that? But I was in love and I wanted to go where my boyfriend was going. And at the time he was headed to Denver. So when he got a job, I had lived at home for, I think, 4 years and worked for my parents for 4 years. And when he got a job in Denver, I said, see you later, alligator. Yeah. And I went to find myself in Denver.
With a boy.
And my little dog. And I don't know if I found myself, but I watched a lot of Kardashians and a lot of RuPaul Drag Race and did some soul searching. And it was when the market was crashing for jobs. So I sat in our little, house and applied for, I think, probably over 150 jobs in Denver. And I was competing with people who had just left 6-figure salaries. And so it was really hard. And I finally found a job at a flower shop. Oh. And so that's when Instagram was taking off and all of that stuff. So I worked there for a brief moment and then got the job in Dallas. So my trail it all comes back together eventually. But then I worked
as most good trails do.
So, and then I worked in Dallas and Shelby ended up leaving his job and coming to Dallas with me. And we were there for a solid 8 years. So we worked for a family formerly from Amarillo who have an oil and gas business, and I ran their life and their home was considered a commercial building. And so they were really generous and opened it to the community there in Dallas for nonprofit events, social light events, all of the things. We had Turkish delegation there. We had state representatives, presidential candidates. We had all kinds of things. And then maybe a little girl luncheon on the side. Or we did, luncheons and events for their company. So we were averaging about 2 to 3 events a month. And that's on top of running all of their other things in their business. And so we were feet to the ground all the time,
I think that's really interesting in the, kind of getting a glimpse into that, hyper wealthy. Crazy. And not a glimpse, actually. Not a glimpse.
Yeah, fully submerged.
All the way in,
Fully submerged into, we see it on TV and we see those, and there are people around us that are, but it's Highland Park, Texas. And you're seeing where some of the wealthiest people live. And I'm going to say I loved working with people from Amarillo because they still have that heart and they're still real and didn't have the generational wealth and they were still real. And there's a portion of that wealth that's not real. We could go down a lot of different rabbit holes on what I learned and what we've learned to get. I feel like we have a lot of parallels in our world.
I knew that a little bit already, but I think we're discovering more.
Yeah, more and more.
But certainly it would have sharpened a perspective, being able to kind of see behind that curtain.
For sure.
Very, very intimately.
Yeah.
And so you did that for 8 years.
I did that for 8 years. I, pregnant with my daughter, kind of toyed with coming home. Raising your child in a city where you can get to 15 different towns in 25 minutes is kind of terrifying when they turn 16. And I think also seeing, I was, part of my story is I'm a Rotarian and seeing and going and volunteering in schools as a Rotarian.
Like Rotary Club?
Yeah, the Rotary.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Rotary International. You kind of just say, I want to go home. My supports, even though my parents were in Dallas with Kraus, your support system is at home and you want to go where is safe and that it's home and that you love and that you've poured so much out and this is just how Shelby and I are in general.
Yeah.
I are in general, is we just pour so much out, that we poured so much out that we were ready to come home. And by the turn of events that don't need to be aired literally to the public, we came home, and we came home November of 2018. And one of our promises to each other and to our daughter, who was fresh, she's fresh when we came back, was that we're going to pour into the community that we were raised in and that our children are going to be raised in. So we hit the ground running, and it was a bumpy start, from him not having a job and us trying to get this creative business off the ground and trying to mitigate all of these things on our own, and really wanting to do it on our own.
Right.
And having this baby. And then, that weird blip in time of 2020 happened. And, just, it was weird. But in all of that, I saw a post that said the mayor's office at the city of Amarillo was hiring for an office assistant. And pre-COVID, I said, hey, I really, I was in Center City, and I saw these guys in this Center City meeting. Sweet Beth invited me to be on that board. And I saw these guys talking about the tier zone, and this business was coming in and that business was coming in. And I said, I kind of really want to know what all that stuff is. So when this job popped up on, LinkedIn, mayor's office assistant, I said, I could do that. But then I saw the writing on the wall of what was about to happen with the world, daughter's school's closing. I didn't apply. But I said to myself, when the world opens back up and this position is still open, I'm applying. And so in August of 2020, I applied and started about 4 weeks later. So started it right at budget.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Great.
So I learned, I hopped in.
I want to ask though real quick. So you kind of, I think you skipped a really interesting step in that you moved home.
I moved home.
And then the next breath was, and you were on these boards and plugging into tiers.
Yes, there we go. Sorry, I did.
No, it's cool. I want to ask, because I think this is a really helpful for people. I feel strongly about people getting involved, as you know.
Of course.
And I think one of the first kind of like barriers to plugging in is they don't know how to start. So when you got home, how did you go from, I just moved home, to Beth Duke is inviting me to be on a board?
Well, I have a really fun history with Beth. So this is also a big blip that I skipped. In 2009, Beth called me while I was sitting at my dad's office and said, Katt, I think you should be a part of Rotary's group study exchange program. And if you know Beth, she talks about her group study exchange program a lot. She said, I went to Belgium. It was the best time of my life. I was there for 4 weeks and it changed my life. I think that you should apply, and Amarillo West Rotary will sponsor you.
Nice.
I said, well, that sounds really fun. I mean, I need to get approval from my dad. And I said, okay, Beth, where is the group study exchange going this year? And she said, Israel. And my heart kind of sank, because there's always turmoil there.
Yeah.
And there's that fear. But she said to me, I promise you, Rotary International will not let you go if it's unsafe.
Sure.
We will reroute it. 2009.
Okay.
And so that trip happened in May of 2009. And this is how I know Beth. I know Beth pre-volunteer, all of the things. How can you not know her? But I applied, and I was sent to Israel with 3 other non-Rotarians and John Canales, a Rotarian. And we went in May of 2009, and we came home in June of 2009. And I slept in 14 different beds in 4 weeks and traveled from the top to the bottom. So that, I talk about all of these things that I've done in my life and my work, but that trip changed my life. And it changed a lot about who I am and what I believe and how I see the world and how I see people, and how you really do need to make your table longer and give a lot of grace. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got back connected with Beth when I moved back. She was the first person I called. I would love to, where do I go? We had coffee with her, Shelby and I. What does the community need? Where can we go? How can we plug in? And it started with Center City And at a Center City meeting is how the Hoodoo Mural Festival came about, that little room. So that's essentially was my plug back in to the community, was those Center City board meetings. And then also working in the mayor's office, which was super cool because I got to see the city from a drone's view. You know, you were in every single part of the community, north, south, east, west, the nitty gritty, the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, essentially, I was driving her to the meetings while she's Zooming on another meeting and learning a lot from her. Yeah. And how and that's how I met you. Yep. And learning a lot how Ginger led and how she really, her heart, and it made me that much more, in love with my city and in love with the people who are making it run. And I think that time just was like, I'm going to do all I can to see this community succeed, because there are people like her in the world who also want to see it succeed. Yeah. So that's how I got in that short little time in itself was also jam-packed. I've been really fortunate to work with some really cool women in my life. And I want to say she's one of them. Yeah. We learned a lot from each other and we're still very close. So that and the people, and we'll talk about all of that later on.
How long did you work for her?
I was there for 2 years. Okay. Some things switched. The beautification job popped open and it was the brand new beautification and public arts position. And I said, oh, you see these jobs and you're like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, step right in.
And
so talk to me about that. I think there's like not a lot of like widespread awareness.
No.
For kind of like this part of the city. Yeah. So explain what that is.
The beautification and public arts. So there's been a beautification and public arts advisory committee for some time, but there was never a beautification and public arts director. Okay. And so in the parks master plan, this is what I mean by getting involved in your city. So that there's always a plan behind all of these things that you're seeing happen during city council. There's always a plan. So within the Parks Master Plan, there was a position for beautification and public arts director. So, Hoodoo was bumping. My dream is to connect the art world, and it was to have this massive festival. And this was after the inception of Hoodoo, but this was just, I think we can touch on this. There's not a lot of bridges. There's not a lot of nonprofits who are bridged together for the common good. Mm-hmm. So in any form, whether it's art, mental health, children, like we need to have better bridges within our nonprofits just because it works for the greater good. For sure. So I wanted to throw this in Dallas. They have this 5x5 block festival. And so I've always dreamed of having this festival here. And me being in the areas of art that I'm in, I said, well, this beautification and public arts person can do all of these things. And so I was on this path to, whether it was the mural grant program or planting trees or figuring out, I think we had someone call and wanted to donate 150 trees. And I'm like, well, how are we keeping them alive? And also my landscape background, because beautification is also not just paintings and murals. Yep. It's what kinds of plants are you planting here? I mean, you look at the entrances to our parks and you look at all of these things. We were working on the no-mow zones and we were working on butterfly gardens and it's so much more than that. But that was short-lived in the beautification and public arts office because I decided that was 2022. I was there for a brief 5 months when I decided or had the calling, I guess, to run for city council. And so I turned in my 2 weeks notice, my month notice. I think I gave them a month's notice. And then I went and filed to run for city council in 2022.
Why did you want to run?
Because obviously I'm Amarillo's biggest fan. There's a lot to that. I saw kind of where the path was going. And I had so much institutional knowledge from me being in that office and seeing how things were connected and seeing the paths that were laid with staff that I could not bear to see them be interrupted. And plus, I love Amarillo. I'm a super nerd. And there's always room for improvement. And I didn't have the end all be all. I was going to continue these processes, but I also saw where there's areas that needed to change. The way we communicate with our citizens, the way some budget things are held. But I also think that a lot of people don't know what's going on until you've been in the mix of it. Just
That's
like
right.
sitting at the Tiers meeting and those guys, or at the Center City meeting and those guys talking about all that stuff. Well, I knew about it now because I'd been paying attention. And so that was an interesting time. Running for city council is an interesting feat. So
yeah, I think one of the things that I'm thinking about is sometimes the biggest red flag for me in a candidate is one that thinks they have all the answers.
Yeah,
that's
not agree more.
Yeah,
especially if there's not any institutional knowledge behind that into where you're pulling why. If you're not getting in and really learning what people are doing in the institution that you're running for, then how are you going to know if it's fixed or not? And I think people see, well, I'm going to go in and I'm going to fix this. And then they go in and they meet with staff and they're like, oh, we really do have a plan. There is a plan. How can we make it better? And I think that was what was the most frustrating for me is listening to people talk and me being, and I don't ever want to, I have a lot of words, obviously, and I don't ever want to seem like I know a lot, but I've also paid attention a lot. So, seeing people talk about things and then me chiming in and just in conversations, well, actually, no, that's not really how that works.
Right.
You know, I came out of it with thicker skin.
Yeah, I was going to say you were in a highly contested race.
For sure.
And I know that it was really tough and you lost that race.
Yeah.
Reflect on that.
Reflect on losing
what was it like? What did it feel like? What was hard? What was great? You know, just
knowing the forces that I was up against.
Yeah.
And I know I want to keep it very high level. Just knowing the forces I was up against, I knew that it was a possibility. And I'm not ever going to go in and say, have it in the bag. Were there always glimmer and glitters? Absolutely. I knew my heart was where it needed to be in that moment. And I knew that I was there for a reason, whether I won or lost. But my seat was hot. It was a hot seat. And I know why I lost. And I know that my heart is better. And I know that my intentions were well. And I can die knowing that I did the right thing and I played by the rules, if you will.
Yeah. There's a lot to
be
said for that.
Yeah, and I worked really, really hard. And I think there are campaigns where people don't work that hard. And I worked really hard. And you know what? I came out of it so much stronger. And I know things like that show people's true colors, and they show their true colors on how they feel about you just because you may believe a little bit differently. It was fascinating that I had people I'd known my whole life who had not once come to me and asked me a question about something, but made these assumptions online. And I'm like, hey, you basically raised me and we were here and now you're saying these things. But I came of it. My skin is thick. And to anyone that we know who wants to run, or you're going to come out and you're going to be okay. Like you're going to be fine. I still was able to, after that race, make the commitment to my community in other ways. So I spent the next 2 years just also running and going and fundraising for different nonprofits and really leaning into the things that I loved the most. And that was all the boards that I'm on or was on.
This episode is sponsored by the Amarillo Art Institute at Arts in the Sunset. If you haven't been, this place is an amazing center for Amarillo's vibrant art scene. They have monthly events, including the First Friday Art Walk, which showcases the artists they have in residence, and they are some incredibly talented people with all sorts of wares and mediums. They also offer classes for children and adults in things like glass blowing, weaving, and pottery. It's super cool. Check them out on Facebook. That's Arts in the Sunset.
It got to the point where my kids were like, no more meetings, Mama. No more meetings. Why are you going to a meeting? And as a mother,
you carry that with you.
It just shatters you. So
How old were your kids when you ran?
Mo was 2 and Maddie was 5. She turned 5, right? I mean, she turned 5 on May 1st.
Dude,
She's a May Day.
So young for
tiny babies.
That kind of commitment.
Yeah. And I mean, and I literally looked up, Mobley was walking and
bless.
Maddie, and I'm sad about that time, but also I was where I needed to be. Kind of thing. But and my kids were Maddie was my biggest cheerleader. She understood what was happening. She helped me wave signs. She asked teachers if they were voting for me. She was my biggest cheerleader. And I also got to show her that she can do whatever she wants in this world.
Yep.
And she is brave and she is strong and she is kind.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to my babies every day.
Yeah.
And that
you can do hard things.
You can do hard things and
That's
you're going to be fine. So that's what I did. I didn't win, but I won. I didn't win, but I won. I feel like I was being protected. But you're still able to pour into the community. You're still able to do that. But I have taken steps back.
Well, and so. I think it's super commendable to not pick up your toys and leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is human nature.
Yeah.
To go like, ouch, that hurt.
It did.
I feel a lot of feels and I don't want to play anymore. And you didn't. And however, you protected yourself and your family. You took a couple steps back. Yeah. I'm making some assumptions here, but took some time to heal.
Yes.
To reconnect. And then assuming you said, okay, we're still going to do this work.
We're still going to do it. I did take some time to heal. I will say I wore my loss because we get also another rabbit hole. I didn't fully take time to heal and protect myself. I just healed the way I thought I should heal. And it's coping with different foods and things. And so it wasn't until this last year that I really was like, okay, Katt, you've poured and poured and poured into this place. You need to pour back into yourself. And so this year's really been let's take a step back and pour into you. And 2025 has been really wild, but I've also got to learn a lot about me and my feelers, like we call them our feelers, and why I feel and how I feel. And so it's been a good year, and I have a new job that's, kind of the reason we're looking at these magazines that I do. I have a new job that I started about a year ago, which was also weirdly intertwined into all of the stuff we just talked about.
It always is.
It always is.
So what's the new gig? So, I didn't even know about this. I'm excited to learn about it.
You asked me, what are you doing these days? I'm like, well, I'm actually here. And so there's this cute little building that's by Meta Park that sits next to the Ronald McDonald House. It's this cute square mid-mod building. It's got cute peak roofs. I'm sure whenever y'all are picturing it, across from the Botanical Gardens, that is the Potter Randall County Medical Society.
Okay.
And I am the executive director of the Medical Society. So what PRCMS is it is a physician-based membership society. And this society is a branch of the Texas Medical Association.
Okay.
So for our members, and we have about 560 physician members.
Oh,
yeah.
Just in Potter and Randall.
Just in Potter and Randall.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. So there's over 700, I think I get these really cool reports. There's over 750 in the city.
Wow.
So there's still some recruiting to do. But what TMA does is they hold malpractice insurance. So it's an easy way for physicians to carry their insurance. But also we offer it's called CME, Continuing Medical Education.
Okay. Yep.
We offer all types of events. We have an alliance that helps support it. But as coming in as a new executive director, they had the same leadership. They've had the same employees off and on for the last 34 years. Got into this position and learned a lot about it. And my goal became recruiting and retaining physicians in the Texas Panhandle.
Yeah.
Because we are the capital of the Texas Panhandle. We have a 26 county region, 4 states that we touch.
It's a huge medical center.
It's a huge medical center. And rural health is almost non-existent.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. But what is really cool about the Texas Medical Association is, and the PRCMS, is that we are a branch to that legislative agenda. Mm-hmm. So we are able to write resolutions that could benefit what's going on up here. We're an arm. And I really want to lean into that. I want to lean into the recruitment and retainment of, because a lot of people hear, oh, well, you're a physician-based society. Can't doctors support themselves? And I've heard that more than once.
It's an understandable assumption.
Absolutely.
Right.
But when you get in and you talk to them about how I'm talking to you, well, I can't just send my president of the board to go to an Ivy League doctoral program and have them recruit here. And so we have the alliance for that. And my goal is to be able to raise enough money to send them to go talk to people and bring people to the Texas Panhandle. And then another cool thing that I do, that's kind of the nitty gritty, not so shiny, but shiny part of it that we do, but people have probably seen in their mailboxes, is the Panhandle Health Magazine. So Panhandle Health Magazine is a quarterly magazine that is a publication of the society, and it is written by medical professionals in the area. So it's almost like a medical journal. It's not peer reviewed, because I've learned that is very hard to get a peer reviewed journal, but it might as well be. So what I've taken over Cindy Bernard. She was an incredible editor of that. And I'm just stepping into her footsteps and making this magazine continue on for another 34 years.
What is the purpose of the publication?
It's for knowledge of what's going on in the medical field. So the first one I got to touch was mental health. So we have all different variations of mental health, from, children to how you cope, all of these things. Doctors from all over the area. The one I got to really jump in and do my first time was maternal and infant health, the first 1,000 days. So we had everyone from Casey Stoughton to Dr. Teresa Baker. Christine Garner was our guest editor. She works with the Healthy Vibrant Moms program at Texas Tech University Health Science Center. So this one was solely focused on women. And there's also, a bridge of mental health in women, postpartum, all kinds of things in this one. And then our most recent one was artificial intelligence in medicine. So, as someone who was receiving these in the past, I never really read them, but now I'm reading them. These are fascinating, and they're written by some of the most incredible doctors that we have here.
And I think that's what sounds really cool to me, is that you're talking about issues that touch every American, and certainly you can Google mental health. Certainly you can Google, how to take care of a young baby. But really interesting to receive information from someone who practices in your community and can more tailor that medical information to the people that are reading it.
And where you find those resources.
Right. Where to go in Amarillo.
And I think our next one coming out is rural health in the Panhandle. That's a big hot topic. Yeah. And, there are little towns in the Panhandle who literally call their vet to get medical advice.
Bless.
And so going from civic stuff to medical stuff, but the legislative stuff's fascinating. I've learned so much. And I'm going to tell you that for having just the amount of doctors we have to serve this tri-state area, we have some really incredible doctors. And just my board run and getting to know my board and how much they love what they do. It's like me nerding out on a good theater, theater production. They're nerding out on artificial intelligence and medicine. And Keyshawn Yalaman Chili was just, all of the things he was, this is going to happen and this has happened. And the Dr. Pogue saying, well, I don't even chart anymore because all I do is talk to this box, which is terrifying and fascinating all at the same time. That's the trajectory that we're going in.
That's right.
So It's just me in the office, and I make phone calls and try to make connections and kind of just revitalize and shed light to people who don't know what PRCMS does. We do Walk with a Doc.
Yeah.
We've partnered with Texas Tech University Health Science Center, and we walk the third Saturday of every month. Even months is John Ward.
That's right.
Medical Center. We meet by the water park, and then the odd months are Martin Road. So we really wanted to expand our reach into the community. It's kind of confusing for people that it is at two different parks, and we're going to reevaluate that next year. But, it's a great time to put a name to a face and to really bridge. Like, I love bridging gaps. Like, I love building bridges.
It's a theme.
And to show and connection and to connect people to the doctors that they're not that scary. You're going to come. Last week we had Dr. Cardenas. He's a new child psychiatrist at Texas Tech University Health Science Center, and it was Suicide Prevention Month. And he talked about resilience and how to take care of yourself. And we were at the zoo, and so it's a really great way to connect with physicians in our area. And also, as Dr. Rodney Young says, motion is lotion for the body. And and motivating the community to, move. And I will say, in part of my healing journey and reflecting back on myself, when we started Walk with the Doc, I was inspired. And so I've taken from the moment we started with Walk with the Doc in February and really done this health journey with myself, and it's been really great. And so I'm here in living proof that Walk with the Doc is successful if you take that first step. So yeah, that's a whirlwind, Skylar. That's a whirlwind of a lot of different things.
Well, I think what I know to be true is that people find themselves where they're supposed to be, good, bad, or indifferent, right?
Sure.
And I think that you've walked a journey, and you're still walking it.
Still doing something, like I said, something. But one thing I know is I love that my servant's heart has brought me into another area that I can pour into. So, which is really cool.
I think the last question I have for you in this portion of our conversation, what is it about Amarillo?
Oh, geez. The people, and you can't, this is cliche as it sounds, you can't beat the sunsets or a Chamber of Commerce evening or a sunrise, but it's really the people, and it's home. Like I talked about answering the phone for my dad, and everyone in the community calling him and getting to know the community. It is a vibrant community. We have, if you can hop off I-40, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and really get to know those around you. And I think we're an incredibly giving community. We are extremely saturated in the nonprofit world, but they all seem to be sustained pretty well and very well loved. It's home.
Yeah. It's
comfortable, I guess. And it's my favorite color, yellow. So there you go. So that's it. I mean, and I love having the history of my family here. When I got into the magnet program at Sam Houston, I was at my Mimi's house in Clayton, New Mexico, and she just wept. I went to Sam Houston. I can't believe my granddaughter and also my son went to Sam Houston. And I hold those stories and the fact that my family has walked the same halls I've walked and been in the same spaces I have. I hold that very dear, and I'm very excited that hopefully my children will get to walk in the same halls and along the same roads that I've walked. And that's home.
If you're starting or growing a small business and need some cash, let me tell you about Amarillo Venture Capital. They are a Hey Amarillo sponsor. They're locally owned, and what makes them different is they don't just invest in businesses. They invest in people. Whether you need $5,000 or $50,000, they offer flexible, asset-based loans, often with funding in a week or less. And it's not just the money. They can connect you with their local network of legal, accounting, and business resources to help you succeed. Check them out at amarilloventurecapital.com. I'm back with Katt Massey. Katt, this is the part of the show I call 8 Straight. You ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, Skylar.
Let's do it. When you think of Amarillo 10 years from now, what do you hope for?
Well, my children will be 14 and 17, which is terrifying to think about, but also very exciting. I hope that we continue a growth in the growth trajectory. I hope that, they always are, the cheesy thing is a seed planted today will grow into all of the things tomorrow. And I hope that Amarillo stays on this positive or hops on the trail of positive trajectory. I hope for that.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
All good things.
Other than wind, what does this area have too much of?
Well, I have what's called the 5 C's of Amarillo.
Okay.
Yeah. And it goes, we have a lot of chicken. We have a lot of coffee. We have a lot of churches, and we have a lot of convenience stores.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that that's too much in any type of a negative connotation, but that what gives us our 5th C, which is choices. So that's when people ask, I'm like, well, we got a lot of these and we have a lot of choices. And so I don't find that to be too much of or anything negative. It's just, I call it like I see it.
It's just true.
It's just true.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what do we not have enough of?
Oh, I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it forever. We do not have enough trees. As someone raised in the tree world, I will take trees any day, and if it comes with more green spaces, I'm all about that.
Super duper.
Super duper. Yep.
What's your favorite local building?
I have a lot, and I've had to, of course, do a lot of reflection in this one, but I'm going to say it's the tiny little building I work in. It was built in the 50s for about under $50,000 with help from the Amarillo Area Foundation, and nothing's really changed about it.
Okay.
It's got the same furniture, mid-century modern. It has this smell of old books and history, and I love sitting in that office by myself, and it's the cutest little office.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's a neat little space. But
so next time we're driving to Medi,
Hagee
check
Boulevard.
out the little building next to the Ronald McDonald House.
Yep.
All
Tiny
right.
little brown building. Yep.
What's your favorite local restaurant?
Well, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because I have 2. For fancy dinners, I love going to OHMS.
Yes.
And then I love for comfort, and I love the family, and is Coyote Bluff Cafe.
Yep.
Their green chili cheese fries. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's eat it
right after this.
Let's go. Yeah. Real.
How do you describe Amarillo to people outside the area?
I mentioned it prior, but we are more than just a pass through. You need to get in. You need to meet the people. You need to shop at our spaces. You need to see the murals. You got to see those. You've got to hop off, and it's more than just going to school in Oklahoma and living in Dallas, and people just pass through.
Yeah.
Well, I just went up 287 to get to the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm like, stop
I've
and
been
have
through
a
Amarillo
donut.
on my way to Colorado.
Yeah. Did you have a donut? Did you talk to anyone? So I would say hop off and come see what we're about. Have lunch with us.
Yeah.
So
what's the most underrated aspect of living here?
I think our location, as weirdly as that sounds, living also again in Oklahoma and Dallas, to go to the mountains when we lived in Dallas, it'd take 2 days.
Yeah.
We can get to a lake in Oklahoma or the mountains in Colorado or New Mexico in less than 4 hours. And I think, and also we're a hub. I think, I know it's coming down the pipeline, but we're going to see the fruits of what this being the center of the United States is. And I think that we need to market that more. Yeah.
When was the last time you went to PDC?
We took the kids to Sad Monkey a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't hop in the canyon. And then Shelby and I take day dates. And so we went to Sad Monkey 2 or 3 months ago, and then we did our round through Powder Canyon. We didn't get out, but we did take the drive, which is incredible. And it was when things were blooming. And so, but I need to take my kids, and we need to go do some trail walking.
Yeah.
So
it has been a beautiful season out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, wildflowers and the yellows and the purple and the like transitioning of yellow to purple.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful summer.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that concludes the 8th Straight. I like to end by asking my guests to endorse something. Katt, what would you endorse?
There's so many beautiful things in this community. I'm going to get teary. But the city of Amarillo employees. I'm going to tell you, and you know them, the employees are the engine that makes our city work. And sometimes it's thankless, and sometimes it's dirty, and sometimes it's sad. I mean, animal welfare management. I think that the people that truly work for us behind the scenes are not given enough credit. All the bad outshadows all the good that they're doing. And there are some incredible people that work for us. And they take care of us, and it's just like turning the lights on every day and turning the lights off. That's what they're there for. And so my shout out today and my endorsement is love on your city of Amarillo employees, because they literally take your trash out and make sure you have water. So
I endorse your endorsement.
Thank you.
I think that is incredibly valid.
Thank you.
Katt, thank you so much for your love of our city and for visiting with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get ready for more electrifying music from the Amarillo Symphony. In October, they'll be performing the very dramatic piece that we've all heard in the movies called Symphonie Fantastique, and will also feature the Lubbock native Fiona Shea on violin. In November, they'll take us on a cosmic journey with Holst's The Planets, with singers from WT and Canyon High School, followed in December by the beloved Happy Holiday Pops concerts featuring Annika Spalding from the Little Theater. With performances throughout the year, there's always an exciting experience waiting for you. Don't miss a single note. Visit amarillosymphony.org for tickets. And that concludes the episode. Thanks to Katt for the interview. Thank you to SKP Creative and Venture Capital for supporting this episode, and to Angelina Marie for editing every week. And thank you for listening. This has been episode 421 of Hey Amarillo. I'm Skylar Gallup, and we hope you'll listen next week.